All right, family. Peace and love. Peace and love. We're tuned in. We're live here on another stream in December, closing out the fourth quarter, the end of 2023. A beautiful way, and I'm just beyond grateful and ecstatic for all of the growth within the community, for all of the things that have been aligning for each and every single one of you guys. That have been consistent, that have been applying, that have been executing. I'm just finishing a workout, and I wanted to come here to do my first live today, and I'm going to do another one as soon as I get home after I eat and get settled in. But I'm super grateful above all those just to continue to provide the value that I am here in the month of December. And I hope and I pray that each one of you guys is taking advantage of hopping on these lives, hitting that notification bell so that you guys can make sure you guys are tuned in, able to get any questions, asked that you guys may have. Hoping that you guys are taking advantage of everything on the Discord as well. I'm going to go over all of the Discord questions as well too on today's live stream. But super grateful and super excited to get into today's call. So I would love to hear what you guys are grateful for today. I would love to hear any more testimonies that any of you guys may have from attacking the processes and the steps that we've given here on this channel. One thing I'm looking to really do is just over deliver on the value at hand, specifically in staying within my lane of consumer law. That's when, if anybody were to ask me about status change, how to operate in the private, becoming a secure party creditor, there's a whole lot of different processes and steps. 1099, I don't teach any of that. Yes, I'm very, very familiar with each and every one of those in which I've mentioned, but I don't teach any of those. I stay in my lane and I teach consumer law. Here to educate you guys specifically, and how can we even worry about any of those other processes if we can't even get down this information at hand. So I'm here to specifically break down Title 15, right, the Consumer Credit Protection Act, and that's what we're going to cover. So on today's call, I'm going to be sharing 3 different laws that will be able to help you guys remove anything and everything off of your guys' consumer report. After we go over these 3 laws, I'm going to hop into, some Q&A, some questions that have been asked within the Discord, the public Discord. So I do highly advise, if you're not already in the Discord, to definitely get in tune with everything that we have going with the Discord. So without further ado, family, let's get it right into the live, because I am looking to get up out of this gym. But all while at it, make sure everybody is dropping things in the chat box, any questions, anything that you guys may have overall, just with what you guys are looking to get done. The power truly comes with everybody learning how to do for self. The power truly comes with each one of us getting in tune with this information, and not just getting in tune with it, because knowledge is only potential power, right? Knowledge is simply potential power. Applied knowledge is where the true power comes. Peace and love, unknown supreme. So we got to go out and apply this information. We got to go out and execute on this information that I'm giving here to you guys. And any questions that you guys may have, anything, or anywhere you may feel stuck, I want you guys to share that with the community. Vulnerability and transparency is what's going to get all of us towards our goals. It's going to get all of us towards the things in which we desire. I know, especially as men, it may be a little bit more hard to be vulnerable, to be transparent, but I'm here to tell you guys that is what's going to get you guys to a level that you could have never imagined, is being vulnerable, being open, and being transparent with where you're at right now. Because let me tell you guys something. What got you guys here to this position, to this point, will not get you there. I'm going to say that again for me. What got you here will not get you there. So it's vital to understand that every day we got to continue to grow in all areas of life, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically, emotionally. Emotional intelligence is vital. It's key, right? So in all areas, we got to make sure that we're growing on a day-to-day basis. And so today I wanted to present to you guys and show you guys, three specific codes and 3 different subchapters that are going to help each and every one of you guys get what you guys are looking to get done. So let's hop into it. And so let me know if what you guys are seeing on my end is all good. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you guys can see the screen, and if you guys can see it moving with me as well too, because I know when I pull up OBS, it's going to pull up all of this extra stuff. So give me a 1 in the chat box. Let me know if, as I go to the Safari, you guys are able to see specifically what is on my screen, and that's it, and only one of it, rather than a million different screens. Now, I just tried this new feature, so I'm still getting familiar with OBS, still getting familiar with the whole streaming game as a whole. I've invested thousands of dollars into this streaming software and things to really bring the content to another level. And what we're going to be doing is chopping up a lot of these lives into shorts, into YouTube shorts, into TikToks, etc. If you guys do not follow the TikTok, definitely get in tune with the TikTok. I've been a lot more consistent with it and dropping value on TikTok as well. If you guys don't follow me on Threads, I'm going to start posting something every single day on Threads, educating you guys upon consumer law as well too. So definitely follow me on Threads, and all social media platforms are Credit Gotti. My TikTok is credit.gotti, so credit period Gotti. And you guys can find me once again on all platforms at Credit Gotti. Our business page is Billionaires Club _ both on Instagram and TikTok. We do have a YouTube as well too, but we haven't really grown it. I'm waiting to produce, some different type of content for you guys when it comes to, and as we start touring next year in 2024, which is something that I did today and something that I advise all of you guys do today, with it being the 12/12 portal, is to write out your guys' goals today. Write out the things in which you guys are looking to manifest going into the new year. Something I'm going to do when I get home as well too is not only write out things I'm looking to manifest for 2024, but things that I'm looking to manifest for 2030, 2040. I'm talking 10 years, 20 years in advance, right? Because my mentor always told me, if you truly are looking to do things that have never been done, you got to reverse engineer your goals. You got to start from the end and work your way to the present day, to truly do things that have never been done once again. So I highly advise, and just thinking back as kids, the smarter kids would always, whenever there would be a maze, start at the end of the maze and work their way to the beginning. So why don't we do that with our goals? So that's a challenge that I have for you guys today as well too, with it being 12/12. Set the intention. I'm gonna do a little ceremony as well too, a little mushroom ceremony, and then just take a bath to cleanse any excess or extra heavy energy that needs to be released, and really set the intention with these goals as well too, going into the new year. So I'm excited and I'm looking forward to doing that this evening. But above all else, let me see, drop a 1 in the chat if my screen is loading perfectly fine, if you guys can see everything here on Safari. Okay. So I'm getting a 1. Perfect. So come in here, family, to the first code that we're going to cover. And on the second live that I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you guys 2 different identity theft reports that you guys can file. One of them is going to be going to the consumer reporting agencies, and then the second one is going to be going directly to the company themselves. So I'm going to show you guys how filing an FTC report, you guys don't even have to print it out. It's an online submission, just like the CFPB, just like the BBB, or an Attorney General complaint. I'm going to show you how to file an online FTC complaint as well too against these corporations. So that's why I wanted to bring up this one law and this one code, because in pursuance of 15 U.S.C. 1681 C2, which is the block of information resulting from identity theft. And what I want to make very clear as well too is this next live that I'm going to do is going to be open and live to the public for 24 hours. After that, I'm going to just simply keep it for all of my mob members. So if you guys are part of the mob, you guys will have lifetime access to this video and to the breakdown of it. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go over, how to actually file these complaints. I'm going to actually file a complaint, one of the online ones, and then one of the ones that we're going to send to the consumer reporting agencies directly as well too. So if you don't already have the notification bell turned on, definitely turn on that notification bell. And if it's going to be too late, I know it'll be a little bit later on the East Coast, but make sure you guys tune in first thing in the morning. Watch us live if you guys are just on the public channel. If you guys, miss it within the 24 hours, it will be on the mob for a lifetime. So make sure you guys do check out the mob. And I still got to upload a couple videos here for my mob members as well too. Peace and love to all of my mob members. I see a couple of you guys streamed in, and I'm grateful for all of you guys to be here. So without further ado, family, once again, the first law that we're going to break down is 1681C2, which this does break down and put these companies, specifically the reporting agencies, on notice, letting them know to block the information that's all resulting from identity theft. So there is 4 steps and 4 things which we must provide to them for them to block this information. So it states right here, except as otherwise provided in this section, a consumer reporting agency shall block the reporting of any information in the file of a consumer that the consumer identifies as information that resulted from an alleged identity theft, not later than 4 business days after the date of the receipt by such agency of, number 1, the appropriate proof of the identity of the consumer, number 2, a copy of an identity theft report, number 3, the identification of such information by the consumer. So number 2 is the FTC report. Number 3, and like I mentioned on tonight's call, I am going to be showing you guys how to not only file the FTC report through ftc.gov, but how to file another FTC report through another part of their portal, which will go directly to the company themselves. And this is all an online submission, the second part. With this, we must provide these 4 forms to the consumer reporting agencies. 2 proofs of identification. So I recommend either a copy of your social and a copy of your, passport. If you don't have a passport, I do recommend, your social and your ID or driver's license. I personally do not have a driver's license, so I always, in every case, use my passport card and my social security number. They already have access to your social security number, so it's no secret, to get, send that off to them as well too. So we are providing, above all else, 2 forms of identification, along with the FTC report, the identity theft report. And then number 4 is a statement by the consumer that the information is not information relating to any transaction by the consumer. So I want to let them know I, the natural person, am disputing these inaccurate accounts that are being reported on my consumer report, and I demand a proper reinvestigation to these accounts listed on the report and or below. Right, so you can also list them below, and or you can just mention the accounts on the report. If I'm not taken serious, I will hold you guys civilly liable. Period. Simple as that. First name, hyphen, middle name, full colon, last name, period, UCC 1-308. Nothing more, nothing less. Perfect. So now let's get into the next one. The next one is the protection of non-public personal information. So this right here is the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act. And what I want to, bring notice to is the power of being a natural person and us being able to have privacy as a natural person. We as a natural person, should be demanding privacy. We got to understand that they never clearly and conspicuously disclose to us anything about this information being reported. So I'm going to take you guys into the start of the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act. I do recommend that all of you guys go through here. It's a very simple subchapter within Title 15, but come here. This is Chapter 94, and I do recommend that you guys all come here and read through each one of these. Specifically, I'm going to keep you guys here with the second law being, once again, 15 U.S.C. 6801, which is the protection of non-public personal information, right? The title itself says everything. A, privacy obligation policy. So we're talking obligations. We're not, oh dang, that's a whole lot of protein clogged up in here. So it is the policy of the Congress that each financial institution has an affirmative and continuing obligation, right? An obligation to respect the privacy of its consumers and to protect. So to respect the privacy of its consumers. So let me take you guys here really quick. Within the congressional findings of the FCRA, we talk about there is a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness, impartiality, and a respect to the consumer's right to privacy. So right away, they're letting them know that consumer reporting agencies must respect the consumer's right to privacy. This is a whole nother subchapter and a different chapter within itself. A lot of people don't know that Equifax, Experian, TransUnion themselves and every other consumer reporting agency is also a financial institution as well. So therefore, they are liable under the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act as well. Furthermore, under the FDCPA's congressional findings, we also talk about, abusive debt collection practices contribute to the number of personal bankruptcies, to marital instability, to the loss of jobs, and to the invasion of an individual's privacy. Come on, family. So within two different, completely different subchapters, we're talking about privacy within the congressional findings. So this is what Congress found. So this is how powerful the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act is, and I highly advise you guys get familiar with it. As I always do mention, start with the definition section. Start with understanding the definitions within this subchapter, and then go into reading the start of it. And within Chapter 94, they don't have congressional findings, but they do have a start to this subchapter and chapter as a whole, and this would be protection of non-public personal information. And so continuing obligation to respect the privacy of its consumers and to protect the security and confidentiality of those customers' non-public personal information. Okay, financial institution safeguards. In furtherance of this policy, in subsection A, each agency or authority described in the section 6805 of this title, go read it, other than the Bureau of the CFPB shall establish appropriate standards for the financial institutions subject to their jurisdictional relating to administrative, technical, and physical safeguards to ensure the security and confidentiality of customers' records and information. Number 2, to protect against any anticipated threats or hazards to the security or integrity of such records. And number 3, to protect against unauthorized access to or use of such records or information which result in substantial harm or inconvenience to any consumer. Right, so that's the second law that we can use to go ahead and get things deleted off of our consumer report, because there's so many different laws that govern the protection of our personal information as consumers. Now, the last but not least is 15 U.S.C. 1692C. So this is communication in connection with debt collection. So a lot of people do want to come here and just read cease and desist. See, what I want you guys to understand is you guys can get things removed before even or without even using cease and desist. And when I do use cease and desist, I'm typically mentioning the things that are mentioned prior to cease and desist prior, because right here, communication with the consumer generally, without the prior consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector or the express permission of a court competent jurisdiction. So unless we've given prior consent or they've received permission from the courts, a debt collector may not communicate with the consumer in connection with the collection of any debt. How many of you guys have given them prior consent? I can promise you no court has given these financial institutions any court competent jurisdiction to communicate with you guys. So a debt collector may not communicate with the consumer in the connection of any debt. Number one, at any unusual time or place, or a time or place known or which should be known to be inconvenient to the consumer. How many of you guys, when is it ever convenient for you guys to be, reached out to or in communication with any of these debt collectors? I don't know about y'all, but it's never convenient to me. I operate a business, and them communicating with me in general is taken away from me being able to do the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, me being able to take time to spend with my family outside of what I do for business, me being able to take time for self. I don't want to be hearing about anybody coming to collect an alleged debt. So it's never convenient to me. I don't know about you guys, but me is never convenient to me. Then we go into, in the absence of knowledge of circumstances to the contrary, a debt collector shall assume that the convenient, so they're just assuming that the convenient time for communicating with the consumer is after 8 o'clock a.m. and before 9 o'clock p.m. Local time at the consumer's location. So regardless of where you guys are, I don't care if they're on the East Coast and you guys are on the West Coast. If they're calling you at 5 a.m. and it's 8 a.m. over there, that's a violation in pursuant to 15 U.S.C. 1692A1. Very clear. And then we go into if the debt collector knows. Let me see if there's any questions really quick. Yes, correct. No driving, all traveling. Love the sharing of knowledge. I am living in the private. Beautiful, beautiful. So number two, if the debt collector knows the consumer is represented by an attorney with respect to such debt and has knowledge of or can readily ascertain such attorney's name and address unless the attorney fails to respond within a reasonable period of time to a communication from the debt collector, or unless, so this is if you guys were to be being represented by an attorney. Number three, at the consumer's place of employment, if the debt collector knows or has reason to know that the consumer employer prohibits the consumer from receiving such communication. And then we go into B. Except as provided in section 1692B of this title, without the prior consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector, or the express permission of a court competent jurisdiction, or as reasonably necessary to effectuate a post-judgment judicial remedy, a debt collector may not communicate in connection with the collection of any debt with any person other than the consumer, his attorney, a consumer reporting agency, if otherwise permitted by law. The creditor, the attorney of the creditor, or the attorney of the debt collector. C. And this is where, things really get spicy. If consumer, I've gotten every account you could think of removed with just using 1692CC. If a consumer notifies a debt collector in writing that the consumer refuses to pay a debt, or that the consumer wishes the debt collector to cease further communication with the consumer, the debt collector shall not communicate further. So we got to really understand what communication means. Communication means the conveying of information regarding a debt directly or indirectly to any person through any medium. So a medium is a phone call. A medium is a text message, an email, through mail. Also, it is your consumer report as well too. So don't let that go over your head. The debt collector shall not communicate further with the consumer with respect to such debt, except, number one, to advise consumer that the debt collector's further efforts are being terminated. So unless they're terminating their efforts to attempt to collect this debt, or to notify the consumer that the debt collector or creditor may invoke specified remedies, or if they're looking to pay you guys and invoice you guys the remedy for them infringing upon your rights. And number three is basically the same thing as well too. Where applicable, to notify the consumer that the debt collector or creditor intends to invoke a specified remedy. If such notice from the consumer is made by mail, notification shall be complete upon receipt. So that's where that green return receipt comes in place. That's where sending it off certified mail comes in place, because I know for a fact you guys received it. I know upon receival of receipt, all debts and what you guys are exercising within you guys' season communication should be stopped right then and there. The only other communication is if, we've invoked specified remedy and they're giving us the remedy. Outside of that, unless all efforts are being terminated. So now let's go into the questions within the Discord. So I see a lot of people have asked questions within the Discord. So I want to come here for you guys and answer these questions. So FTC reviews new rule targeting auto dealership scams. Let's see what this is talking about. So this is on NBC News. So the Federal Trade Commission says the new guidelines will ban auto dealers from misleading customers about payouts and unnecessary services. Insurance, come on, family. Like gap insurance. Down payments. Come on, family. So on tonight's call, I'm going to show you guys how to draft up an FTC complaint against these dealerships as well. So the Federal Trade Commission announced a new rule that is intended to stop auto dealerships from using hidden fees and bait and switch price tactics on buyers. The agency says those fees and tactics cost Americans $3.4 billion per year and add 72 million hours to their time spent for shopping in this for a vehicle. The FTC is calling the new regulations the Combating Auto Retail Scam Rules. The agency says the rules ban misrepresentation about price, cost, and other information. It also requires dealers to provide the actual price any consumer has to pay for the vehicle, requires them to disclose that additional items like extended warranties aren't mandatory, and requires them to state up front the full monthly payment consumers are accepting. That's a beautiful article. Who dropped that? Let me give them a shout out, man. Shout out my guy S. Let me reply. Alright, let's see any other questions. I'm really looking to buy some land with this information. Should I just use a line of credit to do so? So yeah, if I was looking to acquire some land, I would personally go out and, which I haven't done such yet, but this is what I would do, is I would acquire an unsecured loan, and once I've used that unsecured loan to put down for a down payment of that land, then after about 45 to 60 days, I would go through and rescind that contract. That's what I would do personally. Granted, I haven't done such yet, but that's what I would do. My guy Haji, shout out to my guy Haji. I appreciate all the activity in the chat box. My guy Q, he copped those 2 books on Truth in Lending, the Consumer Protection or the Consumer Credit Protection Act. Love to see it. Me and my guy Q been locked in since 2019. So it's great to reconnect with you, brother, and I hope and pray that all has been well on your end. The Original Cowboy, great rise into all. My situation, I went to Hyundai dealership to test drive a Santa Cruz truck. Love it. Gave them my information. They came back to me with the Hyundai Tucson. Long story short, it's not what I asked for, but I'm still grateful for it, and I'm able to keep my job. Anyhow, I'm a secured party creditor / private banker, and I'm slowly learning my position on how to use my trust with this title. I have pre-written or typed out contracts. Just got to fill in the lender and dealership info. Is there anything else I need to know before sending the affidavits out? Any and all is welcomed. So I would say, my guy, the original cowboy, definitely make sure you are familiar with truth in lending. Last night's call will help big time. So 1601, 1602, the definition section, 1605, 1611, 1635, 1662, and also 1666, which we didn't cover. But there's more than just, it doesn't stop like I talked about last night at 15 USC 1635, the right of rescission. But those are just some that you could enter into an affidavit of truth itself. Good morning, community. Has anybody successfully done a rescission on a home? I haven't seen such yet in the chat box, or in the Discord. If this applies to my current situation, how can I take advantage of this payout? If this apply, okay, I see a lot of the same. So Lady Leah, if you are going through it with Toyota Motor Credit, Toyota Financial, what I would do is I would file an FTC report. So make sure you're on tonight's call. What I would also do is send out an affidavit of truth, and I would send in an invoice with that affidavit of truth. And I would also send in a copy of that CFPB complaint. Okay, my guy Haji, or not that CFPB complaint, that CFPB newsroom letter, breaking down everything, and I would highlight the things in which, and break down the things that you're being violated from the things that they're being sued, from, because I promise you why they're being sued is exactly why, something that aligns with you being violated against. I need help with something you mentioned in your recent How to Clear Medical Debt Live. So these are the copies of the documents that I'm requesting, or the evidence of the acquisition through the purchase or assignment in accordance with the subtitle D of the AARA, Section 1340. This includes the application of securities, provisions, and penalties to businesses, associations of covered entities, as outlined in the AARA, Section 1307. 1. On breach of security, the term breach of security, the unauthorized acquisition of the unsecured PRH identifiable health information of an individual with personal health record without the individual authorization, any agreement signed. The alleged debtor acknowledged the responsibility to pay the creditor. As this is a medical account, please include a copy of any HIPAA authorization. What laws are these? Can you provide a title overstanding on this live? Those are, if you look up just the sections within themselves, Section 1307, and go through and look up Section 1340, you'll be able to find those via the internet. Something as well too that I'd recommend you use, just to even simplify it, is 1681A number 3, which it talks about medical bills and an exclusion of medical information being shared from one's consumer report. What I would do is I would simply file an FTC report, and make sure you're tuned in on tonight's live that I'm going to do. If not, if it's too late, if you're on the East Coast, because it's probably going to be 9:30, 10 my time, in all transparency. So I would definitely, if you can't make it tonight, definitely tune in the morning, in the rising, if you're not a part of the mob. And if you are a part of the mob, you'll have lifetime access to this video. But I'm going to show you guys how to file some complaints online through the FTC, but I would definitely include them into this report, those medical information companies. And so that's all of the questions from the past 12 hours to 24 hours here in the Discord. So let's see if there's any here on the live for any of my live viewers. And if not, I will see you all. Okay, this is a bit off topic, but I sent some certified mail and was not successfully delivered. Got sent back as undelivered due to the sticker I placed in it. Can you go over what to put on the label? So I did go over one yesterday. If they're giving you some difficulty upon, the free certified mail, I would simply just pay the $7. Especially if you guys are invoicing them, sending off the letters, I would just pay the $7 because at the end of the day, you're gonna get all of that back in remedy on the back end. And I'd also, with that, send in a certified green return receipt. Lady Leah, thanks for sharing sharing valid and helpful information. These dealerships are very deceitful. 100%. That's why Toyota Financial is getting hit right now. So I love to see it. I love to see them getting put in their place. But at the same time, that money that the CFPB is collecting, remember, family, that's our remedy. So let's go out and let's get it. Peace, love, and light. I'll see you all tonight. And tomorrow, I'll see you all. And the next day. And the next day. Let's finish out this fourth quarter with the bang. Let's make sure this 12-12 portal, we set the intention. Let's make sure that we, this 12-12 portal, really are clear with the things in which we're looking to achieve, not only going into the new year, but the new decade, 2030, the next 2 decades, 2040. So let's get clear on, where we're looking and what we're looking to accomplish, family. Peace, love, and light. As always, Credit Gotti. He's out.